We all are same, but our dreams and desire are different. Ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and welcome. It's me, Mahalaxmi. You are watching the Mahalaxmis Show. Today we have blogger, YouTube host, program presenter, photographer, writer, actually multi-talented, Mr. LanceScurve. Mr. LanceScurve, welcome to the Mahalaxmis Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here. Excuse me for sweating. The AC is off and everything's off to keep the noise down from this end. But it's an honor and a pleasure. And all of your shows are uplifting and positive and very informative. And I'm glad enough to be honored to be here. And I thank you for that. Other than that, we're going to talk and have a long, good conversation. And I thank you again for being here.
Good to see you again. So,
yes, indeed.
How's your life going on there?
Well, to update for those who didn't know, I was living in Orlando, Florida for about 20 years. Before that, I lived in New York City, born and raised for 38 years. So I stayed in the country, but I went from the north to the south. And after a time, we decided that, well, not that there's anything wrong with living there, but I want to live a little freer. I've been many years, many decades of working hard in the country, working multiple jobs, but it didn't seem as though I was getting anywhere with my personal endeavors and the things that I wanted to do creatively. So I said, there's got to be a way to beat this system. And I got to the point where I got to, like right now, I just turned 58. And a couple of years ago, I started to think even harder that I need to maybe relocate to be around more nature, a little more heat, more tropical, but where my money can stretch, you see. And after contemplating the Caribbean, I said to myself, well, let's try Africa. Let's try Ghana, because this is where our bloodline is from. And so when I came here in 2019, it blew my mind. The weather, the soil, just how laid back everything is. And you can kind of find your own level, meaning that in New York City, or even certain parts of Florida, Orlando, where I was, started to get busy. The things that I enjoyed 20 years before when I moved there seemed to be dissipating. It was turning into another place. So I said, you know what? This looks like a good move. And I researched many places online, not just going there, but online, and there's certain things that didn't fit me. But over here, you have the city, you have the busy city. The things I do online, I could still do. So that was a plus. I didn't have to change my whole world that way. And on top of that, it was just phenomenal that the properties up in the mountains were very, very, very affordable. And you can get your land and build, which we have done. And we're still in the process of doing it. But I am very, very pleased. And there's no way that on what I've made over the years, which I'm not a millionaire, but I'm not a person who's broke either, that I can maximize the finances and now kind of lay back and have the time to focus on what it is that I love to do, which will be very productive for me. So I'm in a very happy place. And before, I was getting kind of concerned. I just didn't want to be that guy who had to work until I'm 70 or 75 years old. I didn't want that. I want to pursue my own things and live the life I want to live, because I don't live extravagant. So I have no pressure that way to have the latest car all the time or to have the biggest house all the time, although I am pleased with the size of the home that we're going to be living in.
When did you get thought about move out from United States?
Well, for many years, I had that thought, and it was always something that was kind of hovering in the back of my mind, but it didn't really hit home until around 2017, 2018, it kind of snuck up on me. It was almost like something in peripheral vision that, you see something out the corner of your eye, but you turn and you don't really see it, but something's there. That was the same thing with me, because as I began to see, and I'm not going to trash America, I'm just saying that things got to be a little more like New York in Florida. I'm like, wait a second, is there any way we can go? And when I started to think about different states or different parts of Florida and different states in the South, they had their pluses and they had their minuses. One of the things that is very important to us is that my wife loves to plant. She loves to garden. She loves to grow fruits and vegetables. I mean, a lot. She will go out there all day on the day off and just stay out there and that's her therapy, right? So there were certain places in America that had a warm climate and the prices were good of the land, but the soil didn't grow things. The pH balance of the soil didn't support certain things to grow. So I had to consider that. But when I came here and I saw it online, I saw how fertile everything was, but it's just half a world away. Well, not really that far, but not too close either. It's not a 2-hour drive. It's the flight, and the flight's going to be between 9 and 11 hours to get to America. So you're not going to get there too quick, but it's not too far really when you think about it. You know, just sit down, you go to a day's work, 8 hours a day, you commute. That's the time it takes to get here. So that was a big deciding factor, and how you can build your home. They have rules here. They have codes here according to the building, but they're not as stringent as America, right? You can pretty much do what you want and then get to an architect and he can clean it up and kind of say, well, you need to move this wall over a little bit because it's a bearing wall, or you need to do this or that. So I designed our home. And, you know, I'm an artist. I draw. I have an imagination. But I didn't just say to my wife, okay, this is what it's going to be. You know, we collaborated, and I said, well, this is what I want. This is what I want in a home. And I got features in that home that pretty much I would not be able to afford in America. And that was an extra plus. You know, the traffic flow is important to me, the spaciousness. I wanted a nice catwalk looking over into the living room. The ceiling in the living room is probably going to be like 20 feet high. I wanted my own studio to do the podcasting. I did it in Orlando in a little bedroom, but now it's sizable. I can bring a lot of people there. I can do live shows and, you know, project and whatnot. It's going to be phenomenal. Certain features. I never liked the staircase coming down into the living room. You know, I had all staircases in the back. So if you want to go up to the master bedroom or down to the basement or on the first floor, you can do so quietly if you have company that maybe you don't want to see. So I have a lot of pet peeves, and I got what I wanted. I told my wife, I said, listen, you can decide the color of the walls. You can decide the color of the tiles. I'm happy. I got my studio. I'm happy. And everything is concrete construction. The cinder blocks, the poured floors. So for the studio, which is partially underground because the land is on a grade, on a mountain, on a hill, beautiful views, breeze, the balconies around everything. So when I go into the studio, it's soundproof. And there's nobody really around that close. We have some homes like half an acre, you know, off on this side, an acre to the other side. Privacy. Something I started to lose when I was in Orlando. And plus, like I said, when I worked there, I was working in prisons and jails. And before I left, I was driving a bus. So you're in the public all the time. The public, you know, I'm a people person, but you have difficult situations all the time. So I want to get away from all of that spiritual and mental stress that comes with people who try you, the confrontations and stuff. It was just time for me to go. Now I can live the way I want. Now, right now, we're not there. We're in an apartment, very small apartment that is really like boot camp. We're getting up. My wife goes up to the property. I do my stuff here. Sometimes I go, but progress is being made, you know, and I'm very happy with it. Another 2-3 months, when we do the broadcast, then you're going to see.
Actually, I heard whoever could not able to establish in US, eventually they move out in other some country. Same thing apply in your condition as well, in your situation as well.
Oh, okay. To suggest, well, the thing is that the number one thing is that if you're leaving America and you're used to America, do not expect any other country to be America. There are going to be things depending on the majority religion, the political atmosphere, the literacy rate, available jobs. I wouldn't suggest, if it's coming to another country like any one of the countries in the motherland here in Africa, that you have something of your own that you do that regardless as to where you are, you can sustain yourself. Because the fact of the matter is, many of us have a glowing, we have enthusiasm. Like me, I trust in my work ethic because I work very hard at anything that I do. But some people have a job mentality, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you do in America. But don't expect to come here especially in Accra, Ghana, or other places, and think that, well, I'm just going to get this job easy. I'm going to fill out this application to go online, because some places jobs are hard to get. And the people who live there don't even have the opportunity to have as many jobs as they can do. Then it may be where you have to work in some area that you're not used to working in to keep things going. So I would not suggest for a person, unless they have a guaranteed situation. And it depends on the person. It might be a single woman or a single man who they may not have kids to take care of, or they may not have a spouse with them that may have something good in America, but they'll have to leave it to come to something that's not as certain. These are the hard facts, and there are a lot of horror stories out here when people don't think of everything. They see one thing and they get enthusiastic, and if that doesn't work, they have nothing to fall back on. Look, I'm 58 years old. I took an early retirement, so I don't get as much as if I stayed for a long time, but I didn't want to stay. I didn't want to stay so many years to get an extra 200 or 300 bucks on my pension. It wasn't worth it to me. The health benefits of being here. See, me, it fit with me very good because it doesn't take much for me to live. I live a very simple life. I'm an artist. I blog, I write, I do my shows. I'm going to soon start a home design company where I'm not going to be an architect. I almost went in for that in my early 20s, but I didn't like it. But doing the home design, which is not established yet, but it will be here after the house is built, where we sit down with customers, with clients, and we get a feel of what they like. Because we know in America, if it's under a certain income bracket, many people don't have much choice. They go to a subdivision, and the subdivision may offer 4 or 5 models. Pick one. Pick one. You have no say-so in where you live or how you live in the space involved. And I think that's kind of wrong. But most people can't do anything any better unless you have a whole lot of money to say, I'm going to customize. It's a lot easier. The only thing here is that you have to make sure that the land is free and clear. Because human nature is everywhere. You have people who are not sincere, and you can find yourself purchasing some land that somebody else has a claim to, and after you build, they can tell you to leave. So make sure the paperwork goes right. Make sure you're here if you're going to buy land. And this goes for anywhere. I'm speaking about Ghana, but this goes for anywhere in the world. Make sure the paperwork is straight so you don't have any bad surprises after that. So with me in the home design business that I hope to do, say, for example, there's a restaurant that you love to go to, and you're sitting in that restaurant. You say, I don't know what it is about this place, favorite restaurant that you love to go to. And there's a certain seat that you love to go to, and you don't know why. You got to figure out what it is about that place. And this is what I want to help you to know, that we can take whatever elements that are there, whether they're large or small. You sit by that particular seat. There may be a nice window with some plants hanging in front of it, right? And you just love being there. Well, let's incorporate that in your home and all the things that you love about your home or about any other place. So you have all those aspects at home. So you love being at home more, so you'll never go anywhere and say, wow, I love being in this place and I don't want to go home right now. Home is the place that you'll stay and want to be. And sometimes it just takes that a bit amount of a thought that most people don't think about. You have to visualize. Most people don't visualize. They take what's handed to them. Okay, here's this model, here's that model, pick one. But what about the things that mean a lot to you? Think about your childhood. What was your favorite room in your home growing up, and why? Why can't we recreate that? And so after we get those plans together, which are very fluid, we hand it to the architect, and he can draw up the plans according to what we put there. And maybe he may have to move a wall over a half a foot over because of architectural reasons. But the bottom line, at the end result, you'll maximize your space, and you'll be comfortable. It's a difference between a custom-made suit as opposed to one that you pull off of the rack. It'll fit you perfect. If you're going somewhere, make sure to research, go and visit first, talk to the people who live there, be neutral, because you're going to get different opinions. If you go to a more affluent neighborhood, you're not going to get the same opinions that if you go to maybe a struggling neighborhood. Learn the ropes, see what's up, see where you fit in. But don't complain when you move there and say, this is not like America. In America, it's not. Even if it's the UK you go to from America, it's going to be some differences there. It might be close, But research, 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 and make sure that this is something that you want. Make sure you know how you like to live. You may not be able to go to a Walmart. There's no Walmarts here in Accra, Ghana. So we have to go to places a little earlier before they close up. There are places that are open all night. They have all the modern amenities here and all the things in the mountains in the country. So I can go between the city and the country here is more extreme, more quiet, more peaceful, you know? So there's certain things that we had to give up, but what we got in return, it fits us better.
So what is different between US lifestyle and Guyana lifestyle?
The major difference, I'm answering in an overall way, right? The major difference is that the crime is less. There is crime, but it's much, much less. The people are not uptight in a stressed out way. They're friendlier. I have to say it. I'm not saying that Americans, and I was born American, so I am that, so I do have a right to speak about it. But in America, there's so much stress. There's so much tension that we don't realize that we have when we're there. And then when you come here, it's so laid back. Now, listen, there's poverty here. There are not enough jobs to go around for the common man. But at least there's an opportunity that when you live in the country and you grow your fruits and vegetables, that's no pressure. You might build your own home, right? And it may not have to be the biggest home. There are a lot of people who live here who don't have a lot of actual money, but they're living good, right? They're living off the land. They build their homes. There's not as many mortgages here. They have mortgages and mortgage companies, but if you get a piece of land, you can take your time and build a small structure, add on, and the materials are very inexpensive. So it's a more permanent feel here. The people here are not stressed in the superficial way that many of us in America are, where we buy a new car and 2 years later we feel like it's a piece of junk, so we want to buy the next car because our neighbor has it. You have a class of people here that do that, but it's so free and common. I love it. I mix with the people who are here. I get along fine. You know, everything in here is mostly cash. A lot of things are cash. You're not gonna, you have ATMs, you have banks, but when you're on the street and you see a bunch of mangoes that they're selling, it's cash. You're not gonna whip out a card, you know, but you have some great banks over here also. So it's like the old world mixing with the new. And it's nice to go between both, but there's no pressure here overall. And I love that. And like I said, those are the differences that you see. But the one thing I like, the low crime. People are very helpful here. You know, also, one thing you have to, which is maybe a drawback, when you come from America, the UK, or whatever, many people tend to think that you have a lot of money. Yeah.
How you are managing them? Maybe people think you have more money, you just move out from the US.
Right. Well, see, the thing is that the money stretches, okay, a little more in certain circumstances. Wherever you go to a land, and this is common sense, if you go to a land, you go to a country, and you see what they have in abundance, it's going to be cheaper because they have an abundance. What they don't have in abundance is going to cost more. So with the Ghana CD, which is like the American dollar, there's a 5.7 right now exchange rate. Maybe 2 months from now it'll be a little different because it fluctuates. And it's definitely going to fluctuate the way the world is going in right now. So it feels like you have a lot of money. When you take $100, right, and you turn it over at the place there, Forex, you have 570 CDs. Whoa. So the one thing is that the price of a vehicle, the price of a car is not going to change. You're not going to come over here and get a Toyota Camry for 1/6 the price. Those things stay the same, although it looks like more because every dollar is 5.7 CDs. So if you get a $25,000 vehicle, they're going to say, oh, this is 150,000 CDs. You're like, wow, that price looks big, you know? So it's basically the same, right? With that being said, say, for example, in the United States, you want mangoes. Now, we know you have to go to Florida, places like that to get some mangoes growing on a tree, but usually they import mangoes in from out of the country. And because they have to import it, the price to ship it, the price for the big supermarket, they got to pay their rent. And lots of times by the time you get it, it's like, it tastes all right, but it's the best we can do. Out here, you go out in the country and see mango trees, loaded mango trees, watermelons with seeds in it. It's so plentiful. So since there's so much of it, do you think it costs much? No, because they have so much of it. So if you go on the side of the road and you're driving from one city to the next here, you have other cities other than Accra. It's just a major city in the capital. The bottom line is when you stop on the side of the road, they can't charge you too much for the mangoes because you can step past them and knock one off the tree. But you're basically paying them, I'm just using this as an example, you're basically paying them for them picking it and stacking it up. So when they told me how much they had these mangoes when I first came stacked up in this little bowl, it was like 15 of them. 15 of them here, 15, a whole lot. I said, wow, that's a lot of mangoes. Now, understand, I do know I'm not paying with dollars, I'm paying with CDs. So when they told me how much it was for that 15 a piece bowl of mangoes, it was the equivalent of, guess what? $3. $3 for 15 big juicy mangoes that are fresh. Wow. In America, sometimes I have to pay $3 for one mango that doesn't even taste good. Isn't that something? So later on, I had just mango juice all down the bottom of my face. You know what I mean? And that was one thing that I loved about it. And the food here is not GMO. It's non-GMO food. It's hard to get a watermelon in America, depending on, because in Atlanta, they still grow them or whatever. But you go to the supermarkets, you go to a Target or Walmart or any big supermarket, chances are it's seedless. Me personally, I feel that there's something wrong when there's no seeds in the fruit. First of all, I don't like that anyway, because how are you going to grow the fruit that you have? Naturally here, when you eat the fruit, you spit out the seeds, they fall to the ground. The ground is so fertile, it grows up again. I drove for 2.5 miles out near the Volta region. 2.5 miles, 2.5 hours. And on both sides of the road, there were mangoes for miles over the horizon. I couldn't believe it. And every now and then we'll stop and take this long stick, hit it, get a few mangoes, eat, and keep going. That's the way that life is supposed to be. And like I always say, we have two systems that we have to juggle. We have the natural system that the one who created us, whatever a person's religion or spirituality, it still matches in because of our cultures and how we grew up. It may sound different, but it's the same because it's one world, one planet, right? But that one who created this system, who created us, whatever name you call it, left everything for us here free. I mean, you've got to think about it. You wake up, you look at the birds. Like I say, I never heard a bird complain about not having enough food in its refrigerator. I never saw an alligator who had a nervous breakdown because he didn't have enough money for the mortgage. They live free. They want food, the food is there, whatever they want. And they live a peaceful life. But us now, we have to pay for everything natural. And we feel that it's natural. And so that's we have disease and stress and nervous breakdowns and tensions, and we don't get a chance to enjoy life like we should. If we left the system, the man-made system, yes, it will be a whole lot more work, but it will force more unity on us as human beings and as a people. Because if I took you now and said, listen, take all of your family, take all of your friends, everybody you could think of in a circle. I'm going to take you all and bring you way out into a country where it's tropical, it's warm, but I'm going to drop you right there and leave you there. I wouldn't be so cruel, right? I'm just trying to prove a point. Where's the value now? The dollar that you have, the English pound, what can that do for you? It can do nothing for you in that situation. You have the free food, but where are you going to sleep? This is what forces us to unify. We must have unity amongst each other because now that older woman who may be approaching 90, she can't do much to go build a house, but she can take care of the kids. That one who is a doctor or a physician who knows the human body, he's going to be the one to take care of everybody when they need. but there's no money exchange. Those young guys who know how to build structures, we're going to use their muscle and their expertise to be able to build homes for everybody there with the natural materials that are occurring there. And the women who have different areas that they have mastered, they'll serve that way, but they'll make sure, and I'm not being sexist by saying the women can cook, because men can cook too, but we protect them, and they're the essence of the home. In the modern world, we've gotten away from that home and the man going out there and doing what he has to do, the woman too, but the home life, the community. And not only that, but if we were put out in a situation like that, where there was no money, we'd be forced to depend on each other. And the other thing is that we'd be forced to value each other. The American system has leached us of that respect for each other, because many of us get so intoxicated when we get a so-called good job that now we don't need you anymore because I have my money, I have my job, I have my profession. I don't need you. See? So we have people who are adopting a mentality, a toxic mentality that is no good for us. And we're more separate. We have more mental issues because we don't have time to be around our family. If you're building a house and the great-grandmother is over there taking care of the kids and somebody's whipping up a meal over there and everybody's hands are in making life better for all of us. We have all day to spend with each other, to laugh, to talk, to joke, to build, and we'll be more happier. You see what I mean? So, I mean, for me, it may not be that way here, but it's closer to that for me, because there are people who are not very interested in getting the latest Mercedes-Benz. They're just happy to have their little home that they built with their hands. And some build extravagant places. You can do whatever you want to do, but understand that there's another system that takes away and leeches us of the happiness that we're supposed to have in life. And that's one of the reasons also. I wanted more time with my wife. I wanted more time to be able to, you know, even though many of my friends are in America, they want to come out and visit. And I'll be able to have time to vibe with them more. And I will come back and visit, of course, but I have more time to visit, because one of the things also with not living in a place that is conducive to more natural living, which you have to fight hard to maintain that. You know, you have kids and they grow up and they adopt a different mentality. But, you know, when you do this, it's like it preserves the culture more. Whichever culture we have many, countless cultures across the planet. And it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be where my culture's the best and all this. Now, there's certain dishes that I know you like in your culture that you can't buy at a soul food restaurant. You know, if you want an Italian dish and you're an Italian man, there's no way you're going to find it at a Mexican restaurant. But sometimes you want the Mexican food. Sometimes you want the food from Czechoslovakia. Sometimes you want the food from Venezuela, the Philippines, China. The cultures make the world rich. If everything was the same, it would be quite boring. So if we can live in a way where we preserve our culture and live life and be happy and be able to share our culture and share other cultures, it's a beautiful world. But this present system kind of leaches that out and wants us to be cookie cutter, wants us to all be the same, listen to all the same music. I love some songs that are mainstream music. I love other songs that are from countries so tiny, you know, that wow, and you learn what's behind it. So it's a culture thing also. There's a lot of rich culture here that has not been touched, a lot of history here that I didn't know about, and this is going to be my base where it will enable me to be able to travel more, because I won't be in America. Oh, I got to ask the boss for 2 weeks off, and you know, I took too many days off, so I got to wait another year. Imagine that. And this is what I tried to get away from. So I say, okay, we cash out, we sell everything we had, our home, everything. We'll take this, pay for everything, no bills with that. Just a matter of food, a little light. If you use solar power, then you're not really paying that much. You collect your rainwater, you have the big tubs up there. There's a spring in the back. You don't have to pay for certain things. I have to pay for internet. I can't get away from that. But if that's one of my only bills, so be it, aside from repairs. But if you're building a brand new home, how many repairs are you going to have to use in the next 20 years? Not much at all. You know, so I had to weigh those things out, because America is a place that everywhere you turn is money, money, money. You know, oh man, there's a leak in the roof. It's going to cost this amount. Or the hot water heater, it messed up. Oh, the septic tank, it messed up. You know, I got into a fender bender. Now my insurance is going to go up. it's a little more, I'm not knocking it. I was born there and I love it to a point, but we can love a favorite outfit and after time say, you know what? I'm not going to be wearing it that much no more. I love it, but let's try something new.
You want to just stay there? You want to enjoy your retired life? Or do you want to do anything noticeable in Guyana?
Well, this is the thing. I'm going to be traveling a lot. I'll have the time to travel here. This will be my base. And I'm closer to other countries more so than when I was in America. I mean, there's Greece, there's Italy, there's Dubai, there's 54 other countries in Africa, right? South Africa, very advanced down there. They still have some issues. The Gambia, Rwanda, it's one of the cleanest places in the world. There are different things in different aspects, and I want to travel. I want to travel outside of the motherland also. But to have a base where it doesn't need to be maintained by paying all this money, and paying a mortgage I don't have that anymore. So to be free that way and to get into my creativity, because there are people who have invited me for speaking engagements. When I write books, I have more time to write books now, to do my artwork now, to be home and do that, to enjoy, get up and have enough space, because there's a lot of land up there, and to just be free and just have the sun on me and I'll produce more. So income-wise, I'll be able to generate incomes and stuff with the things that I've done and the things that I'll continue to do. With the new business that I'm starting, with the artwork that I've been doing, you don't have to be all over the world to profit from. Say, for example, somebody from Italy says, you know what, Lance, I like your little sketches. I want you to sketch something up for me as a logo and for my napkins and for the letterhead. Okay, sure, here's the price. Do it up. Do you like it? No, change this, change that, whatever. 2 weeks later, I'm done. Send it to them, send me the payment. You know what I mean? Because we still have to utilize money in the man-made system, in this system. So it's not like I say I'm completely out and I don't need money, but I will not need as much. And the way I live, I won't need as much. You see? I'm not going to buy a car every 2 years.
So then what is your future plan over there?
My future plans,
yes.
Like I said, to create businesses, to create things that can help other people here. There's so many things that I want to do. There's so many things. My thing is that I would need 5 lifetimes to get those things done. I can start them all, but just to pursue them like I want. But that's the joy of it. And to explain and answer your question from the end to the beginning, there was an artist that I think he was like 86 years old, and he was doing this type of art that people bought. They loved it. They supported him, and he's been doing it for like 50, 60 something years. And he was a hardworking guy, but he loved it. So here he is, 86 years old, and some family came over to where he lived, knocked on the door, and he didn't open the door. They kept knocking. They called him, nobody answered. Went downstairs, did you see him? No, he never came out. Oh man, they go to the door and they see him on the floor. He had a heart attack, I believe, right? But the picture that he was drawing with a pencil, they saw the line. Just go down until he fell, which is a very beautiful thing. And why do I say it's a beautiful thing? I'm not saying it's good because he transitioned, as we all must do, but it was a beautiful thing because when you think about it, he lived his life pursuing the things that he wanted to do until the very end. Every artist, every person, whether you're an artist or not, we should have something that we die pursuing. There's always going to be something that's unfinished if we're passionate about what we do and we stay on it. And that's the way I want to be. We have so many people who don't know what they want to do, who don't know that they have seeds of greatness inside of them, and they don't work to manifest it. And they just sit there and they feel, well, I work my job, I have my pension, let's just drink some beer and watch the football game, and that's not the way to do it. Like for me, there's books I want to write that I'm going to start. I'm going to have one book at least finished before this year is out, because the year is moving fast and we've been building and this and that, this transition, but I'm going to have it. I'm going to have about 25.
What kind of book are you going to write?
I'm going to, since I have the YouTube platform, the Facebook platform, the Twitter platform, and many people already know me there, It's going to be a book of my experiences, just random funny stories. I'm going to start out that way. Not so much where my name is Lance and I was born in 1963. That might be kind of boring. But I'm also a comedian and I want to do some stand-up comedy. And my story is going to be funny because I've been through a lot of funny stuff. I can sit here from now until the next 1,000 years and have you laughing, but the things I experienced, but the way I look at it. So I've been doing some comedy shows on the platform and people loved it. We didn't know you were this funny. We knew you were this funny, Lance. We didn't know you were that funny. And I don't mean funny like I tell a joke and you laugh. I'm really telling real stories that everybody can relate to. And that's a gift that I discovered that I have. Plus, I like to talk anyway, right? So in the writing, which is another medium outside of being online, because many of us have forgotten the power of a book. The internet can shut down. The lights can go out. Anything can happen. But you have that book on the coffee table, in your living room, by the kitchen table, or a book that somebody left in public transportation. You pick it up and say, man, I want to read this book. That's something that you have a relationship with that's organic, that you don't have to have your internet service or upload things. You can lay in a bed, read it under a tree. It's more special. You give that as a gift. I can't give you a website as a gift, but I can give you a book as a gift. And I've discovered that in crucial times of my life, right? It's always happened this way. And I can count it on several hands. When I was coming down to Florida, the final time after I sold my house in New York, and I was coming down, there was a book in the back of the seat in front of me. It wasn't the person in front of me, but it was left there, and the title was basically Do Less and Get More. And it was about efficiency, living an efficient life. And I thumbed through the book and I said, I got to take this book home. But it was profound, the effect that it had on my life. There was another book that I found when I went down to Jamaica, and I forgot the title, but it was like, Talent Isn't Enough. That you can have all the talent, that was the title of it, but basically the book was about, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have good work ethic, you're not going to get anywhere. If you don't have vision and foresight and be able to budget not just your money, but budget your time. And I feel that time is an artificial construct anyway, because I feel on the next spiritual levels that we ascend to, there's nothing called time. But here we have to jump and, if I have to meet you here or do a show at a certain time, we have a measure to come together on. But talent is not enough. So when I say budget time, it means, okay, when you wake up in the morning, not that you're going to have your day rigidly planned out. Well, at 7:30, I'm going to do this, and 8 o'clock, I'm going to do this, because they say, and I forgot what culture said it, but basically it said, if you want to make God laugh, if a person doesn't call it God, the creator, the one who made us all, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Tell him what you're going to do. He's like, oh, really? That's what you're going to do? He has the power over, whether you say he or she or whatever. I'm not even talking religion, but that force that we all honor, that we all have to come under. You want to make, tell God your plans if you want to make him laugh. So we have to leave a little bit leeway for the unexpected, because there's always going to be things that are unexpected. And sometimes they're going to be things that are unexpected, and we think it's bad because we missed an appointment or we missed doing something that we're supposed to do, but it was to save us or put us somewhere else where we'll be blessed more. So we have to have wisdom. I was up the road here. They have a huge anthill, and I do shows every week or so called the Anthill Chronicles. And all I do is stand in front of the anthill with the sun at a certain level, sweating like I am, right? And I just talk about life. Whatever comes to me that morning, I say, okay, I'm going to talk about that. I don't think too hard about it. I just start flowing, and it always ends up okay. Now, with the camera that I use up there, the battery life is 45 minutes. I usually like to talk about an hour, 15 minutes. So I bring a battery pack, a brick, and put it into the camera so I can talk as long as I want. Well, this day I brought it, put the wire in, but it was the wrong wire. And when I got to the 45-minute mark, it cut off. I had more things to say. I was like, oh man, what does this mean? So they had one of the guys here that from the main road, they have their motorcycles and they bring people down into like a little trolley or whatever, but it's just motorcycles when you live up in the mountain more and you don't want to walk too far. So you pay them a little bit of money and they take you down. He was coming back and he said, Lance, he says, you're finished? Because I know him now, right? And I did a video with him. I said, yeah. He says, come on, I'll take you. And it was only a block away, so he wasn't going to charge me. But I told him, I said, you know, one day I want to go up on that mountain. There's a lot of mountains around here. And I want to do a video from up there and show the background and how beautiful the scenery, right? So he says, what do you want to go now? I know how to get there. And I knew pretty much how, but the roads were twisted and turning. You can see these big mountains over there. So I said, listen, give me 3 minutes, drop me by the house. Let me get the proper wire that I need and another camera. He said, okay. So he waited. I came out. He took me up there. Breathtaking views. Now, when I got up there, there was a gentleman and there was nobody up there. So I'm talking away. I looked at somebody standing and he came over and he says, oh, are you doing the YouTube video? I said, yeah, I'm doing it. So come to find out, he knew me from years before. I didn't know this guy. He says, I've been following you for years. So we switched numbers. I said, we'll do something together. So after I left and walked, because the motorcycle friend of mine, he had to go back to make his money. I walked back down into town, which wasn't far. It was like a 15-minute walk. I went to a restaurant to speak to the guy who cooks there and get like a little rice and vegetables, whatever. And there was another guy there who, he saw my tripod in my bag. He says, do you do video production or anything? I said, well, I do YouTube videos and different things of the sort and talk shows and stuff. He says, well, listen, I do stuff on Facebook. He does skits. He does comedy skits. I was like, wow, I knew him. So we connected and he said, well, listen, we got to do some stuff together. So what happened if my camera didn't go out and I would have kept talking and went home? See? So everything that may be an inconvenience may be a way of shifting you into a place where it's advantageous and you'll get a blessing and a connection out of it. So I'm more mellow because of that. And I've had a lot of situations where instead of me getting angry and missing the blessing, I said, okay, Creator, what is it that you have in store for me? Because obviously what I had planned is not what you had planned.
How many people have dream about American language style? They want to move in United States.
Right.
What do you want to tell to them? The same
thing, that I've got a different perspective more so now. I've spoken to many people that they see me and they say, why did you leave America? Why did you want to come here? Because I see the potential. I see how I can live. See, we're people of the whole planet. We can go live wherever we want to live. Lots of times, many of us grow up somewhere and we just stay there. And that kind of gets to our mind. In the modern day now, you can stay wherever you are, but we have this thing called the cell phone, right? And it puts things in our mind. Now, what do I mean by that? There's a lot of propaganda out there. American propaganda. And again, I don't hate the place, but there's some things that they do that are not too true. The American media makes America seem like it's heaven on earth. The streets are lined with gold. There's all this money, all these movie stars. Everybody has a new car because we're getting it on credit. Everybody has this big house. I'm not saying to show the bad things, but let them know that when you get there and you don't have an inroad into something that's going to give you an advantageous position, it might be tough. And not to discourage them, but when you leave somewhere, if you think about it, it's hard going back. So I tell them, they say, well, what is it like? I say, well, listen, what do you do? What are your interests? They say, well, I don't have any specialized skills, but I'll just take a regular job and just work it hard and save my money. I said, well, listen, when we say regular job, we mean something that's not paying a lot, but it's enough to get by. In America, if that is your goal, you might end up working 2 jobs, paying for a place that is expensive according to what you make, and you'll get trapped. You know, if you're going somewhere and you have a student visa and you're going to a school and it's paid for, or you have some way to get something from there, you can be there and live good. If you have a family unit where everything is fine, you have your income, but once you're looking to go there, you don't know what can happen. And he said, yeah, that happened to a friend of mine. I said, well, what happened? He says, well, he wanted to go there for 2 years or 3 years and work a lot because that American dollar can stretch more over here. But he got caught up into the culture. He never went out anywhere fancy when he was in Ghana. He never cared about the car that he drove. But the first thing he did is get this expensive car after a couple of months. Then he started going to the nightclubs. All the pretty girls are there. His mind was not on focus on what he had to do. Now he's in debt. Now he's trying to get a better place to live because when he brings company with him, he wants to have fun and whatever. I said, that's wrong. Now he's expecting a child with one of these young ladies who he didn't know too well. Read between the lines. Now he has to deal with that, right? So now it's like he's stuck and he can't come back. He's crying to his friend, man, I messed up. It's not that America did this to me, but my bad decisions and distractions here that are very intoxicating. So you have to have a strong mind and a goal when you come there, but nothing is easy. America makes it seem through this propaganda and through what they put out there, oh, it's just very easy. Well, everybody has this, come, whatever. It's not that way. For most people, it's not that way. You know what I mean? So be very careful. Have a plan, have a backup plan, have money that you can use to get out if you need to, because in comparison, every move is money. Everything is money here in America, you know. And if you come from a place where it's not like that, or it's a little slower, like here's a lot slower, those who move quick, they have the advantage. I'm that way because of where I come from in New York City all those years that I lived there. But many people here, and I'm not knocking them, but it's part of the culture. You go into a restaurant in America and you sit down at the table, the waitress or the waiter's right there, taking your order. And if they don't have something, they say, well, listen, we don't have that, but we have the hamburger, so-and-so, we have this dish, we have that dish. Here's the menu, I can get you what you want, boom. And then when they take your order, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long at all. I mean, 10 minutes maybe, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 8 minutes. Here, in general, and I'm not knocking the place, but I have to give a realistic comparison. You go to a restaurant and you sit down, you're waiting 10 minutes. Then a waitress or waiter comes by. Hello, how can I help you? I'd like to get the so-and-so and so-and-so and so over here. We don't have it. And they stare at you. And I'm like, okay, you don't have that, so do you have so-and-so? No, we don't have it. And I'm like, so what do you have? And they may say one or two things, depending. If it's a big establishment, you're not going to have that problem as much. But the majority, a lot of them, poor customer service. Expect that when you come here, in comparison to. So any business that comes here, like a restaurant or anything where you're on it, you'll make more money. And then now, after your order is taken, if you get your food in 30 minutes, that's quick. There's some places you wait an hour, 45 minutes. And that's when nobody's there. So it's more laid back, which is good when you come from a fast place, but it's bad when you're being served and you want what you want, and you can understand the delay. So you can't leave here and many other slower places and go to America or the bigger cities, Atlanta, New York City, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, Detroit, Chicago, and expect to have that same lackadaisical, slow mentality. I'm not saying slow like a person is not, like they're ignorant, but just they don't have the push. If you can't push in America, especially for now, with the vaccine and what they say is out there and all these different things and how jobs have been lost, you're working from home. Can you get, there's a lot of things that this has caused. I would say, listen, this is not the right time unless you have something that is sure, a sure way of work, a sure way of living, where you know what your expenses are going to be, what you know the deal pretty much is, and even that can collapse. We need, wherever we are right now in the world is basically still on lockdown. Although we can fly around, it's coming back again. We need to know how to get along where we are. And if you don't feel you can get along where you are with what happened to us, and I'll explain that, go to where you have no problem being. If they lock me down here now, I know I'll still live very well, okay? When I came back from Ghana the first time, went there in April and May of 2019. We sold our house by November. We had some paperwork and little things, to get together and ship everything out or whatever. And by the time we were ready earlier in 2020, The borders here locked down. So we were stuck. So the plane ticket that we had, they said, well, the borders are closed, push back another month the date for you to leave, and maybe it'll be open then. The next month came, the borders were still closed. The next month came, the borders were still closed. We went from early 2020, when they first closed, to September 2nd, when they opened it up. And when September 2nd came, guess what? We got our tickets by the 15th. 13 days later, we were flying out and we came here. And so I'm a little apprehensive to go anywhere right now. And it wasn't mandatory to take any shot or anything like that. So that was good for me, because I'm kind of, not to get too political, but I don't like certain things going in my body. You know what I mean? So that worked out fine for me. But the bottom line is, like I said, make plans. This world is volatile. Things can change real fast. And we just don't know. We just don't know what is going on right now. Politically, financially, it's just so much. We need to study and go beyond our inner circle and really see how the world is working and understand that anything that goes on in the world is something that's going to affect us. It's definitely something that's going to affect us, And many of us don't think so. Oh, that's way over there in this other country. No, we're all on the same planet. And anywhere things happen, somehow, some way, it's going to touch us whether you like it or not. And many people, they're so caught up into the reality TV shows. They're so caught up into what the celebrities are doing. The celebrities are put in place as a distraction. And we're not minding our business as we should. I'm not saying we should mind. When I say minding our business, focusing on the things that can get us ahead. We have this thing called internet, right? Research with that. If you want to move to America and you live somewhere else, connect with somebody online. Go into one of the talk shows and say, hey, in the chat room and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about America. I see you live there. Could you answer some questions? I'll tell you something about here. We don't have to lick a stamp. We don't have to write a letter. We can do FaceTime. We can find out and research with the real people to tell us, because right now, like I said, to come from somewhere else and expect so much, you can't really expect so much. And I'm an optimist now. I'm a positive person, but also I'm a wise investor of my energy and of time. And I'm not going to haphazardly put my energies and my life force into something that I can't see what the return will possibly be. Because to me, I know my work ethic. I trust it. I depend on it. It's not like a person says, yes, I can get the job done, and they don't do it. No. So this is a big move. And to be honest, we have different cultures, we have different races in the world, but many Black Americans, they ain't doing something like this. So this is strange in that culture. A lot of them think I'm crazy. Man, you went over to Africa? What? So now there's a lot of propaganda against Africa. We have modern malls here. We have everything that you have over there, but it's a little different. But if I showed you the malls that they have out here from the inside, you would swear it's somewhere in America. But see, you know the world better, so you know that, right? That we have affluent and rich and poor and the middle class everywhere. We have those who have lots of money. We have those who have a lot of political power. We have those who are in religious institutions who are revered and they don't have to worry about the money because people are bringing it to them. And we have the person on the street who doesn't have much. That's everywhere in the world. But I can go deeper on that, but the bottom line is search for yourself, because we have a homelessness problem in America. People are living in tents and under bridges, overpasses all over every state. States like California is so bad, but they don't broadcast that. I'm not saying America is bad, but we have that there. That if people went and saw that, they say, I didn't know America's like this. We have an overwhelming drug problem for years. It was Dick Gregory who said that 93% of the hard drugs in the world end up in America and used in America. That's a big number. But those of us who, even in America, we have our lives. We're not going to expose ourselves to the bad things. But behind our comfortable walls and our comfortable beds and homes that we live in, there's a lot of things going on out there. I know that from working in jails and prisons there, So there's a reality that is pulling people that you don't want to end up in, because I've seen people lose it all, a death in the family, or maybe the husband didn't have insurance, or they didn't plan their lives. And that wife ends up with her 3 or 4 kids with nothing because he took care of her. She didn't have to do anything. So when that happened, she didn't know what to do. You see what I mean? She might have held on for a while, refinanced a house, but she didn't know what to do. You know, that we have situations like that. But a lot of them can be prevented, but we have a big drug problem in America. You know, basically, America is the dope heads of the world. 93%. It's in Amsterdam. It's in the UK. It's everywhere. At one time, they had a crack issue in Accra. It wasn't like anywhere else, but I do research and I tell it like it is. You know what I mean? So you can be touched by anything anywhere, but in America especially, it could be a very cold place if you don't have your family together, if you don't have a good circle of friends together, a good set of contacts, your world, if you can't build your world where you can help out those in your inner circle and they can help you out, your own community, whether you live in the same state or not. Like say, for example, you know, you're in a certain place now, but you may have family in other states, but they will help you if you need. They don't have to be within walking distance, but you have a community that supports you and you support it. Don't go to America if you don't have that and the knowledge. Don't go by yourself where something can happen, you turn up missing, and who's there for you, you know? So it's a lot to think about, you know? And here for me, it's good, but I still love America. I still love my friends and a lot of my family, my friends are there. I'm not gonna turn my back on that place. But I realized, like when I said before I got here, they said, well, you don't know too many people there. I said, well, I may not know them really good, but what helped me is that when I got here, there's some who knew me from YouTube. Now, I don't know who they are, but some are nice and some are looking for money if they think you have a lot of money or whatever, but it wasn't too hard for me to get information. It wasn't too hard for me to mix and meld and blend. And even every week, I'm meeting people. You know, it's a strange thing when somebody runs up to you in the morning and wants to take a selfie with you, but I'm getting used to that. But love is everywhere. Support is everywhere. If you come with the right intention in your heart, everything's going to work out all right for you, but you have to research. You can't throw caution to the wind.
So do you have any plan to back to US in the future?
Not right now. Things are so fertile here for me in Ghana and surrounding countries. There's so much to do on a positive level. There's so many people who have reached out to me. I will come back, and I'm saying it now. The analogy is this, right? When you're full and you just went to the restaurant, never go food shopping after that. You know why? Because you're not going to put too much in the cart because your stomach is full. The other way is never go food shopping when you're extremely hungry. You're going to put everything in there. You're going to get ketchup, and you're going to get 3 brands of ketchup, this kind of mustard, this kind of mayonnaise, this kind of fit, whatever you eat, you know? So those things influence our decisions. So me, since I just got here in September, it's easy for me to say, I'm not going to go there for another 5 or 6 years. But there may be something there for me to do that may be lucrative to me, or something that I can help somebody with and things work out and I'll be there. And I'm saying that now, a couple of years. And then you might see me like, wait a second, Lance, you're in Florida, you're in New York, you know, I'm there. So still I leave it open, right? But there's so many good people that I've been meeting here and connections, and I'm so excited. I mean, I'm 58, but I feel like I'm 40 years younger, like an 18-year-old who just got out of high school and my life is ahead of me. That's exactly how I feel. And I'm so glad that I made this move. And again, for someone else, it may not be a good move. They may want to stay in America or move to a different state or stay where they are, but look at the potential. Look at what you have around you so that the things that you have as a dream and a vision, you can manifest. We have made so much progress since coming here. To come here in September and to have a brand new home over and above what I could, by the results, over what I could afford within a year, and the contacts that I've met some very powerful people because of what I do here and the respect that I get from that. So there are people who've been living here all their life that don't have the connections that I do. I'm not saying that from bragging or being some narcissist or somebody. No, but everything has fallen into line. And there were, I won't say difficult times, so there were times of uncertainty where you're like, okay, I'm here, I'm excited to be here, but I hope this works out. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like I said before, when I moved from New York to Florida, and I didn't know many people. I knew one guy that I worked with in Home Depot when I used to work at Home Depot in New York City. And we weren't really like the closest of friends, but because he's there, it's like, oh, you're coming down here. Now we're more close. Other than that, they said, you don't know anybody down there. And I told them, I said, listen, I've got friends in Florida that I haven't met yet. And I said the same thing about here in Ghana. I said, I've got friends here that I haven't met yet. And that's the adventurous side of me. That's the part, like when you watch the old TV show Star Trek and it says space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. And that's the adventure of that. And Captain Kirk was flying around the universe in different planets. And you mean I can't go from one part of the same planet to the other? That if tomorrow you call me and you say, Lance, I'm looking at the sun. We're not that far. You know why? Because I'll go outside and say, yeah, I see the same sun. So really, how far is it? You know what I mean? It's all perception and it's all how we see reality. I'm just a little bit of water between me and you called the Atlantic Ocean. That's all. I'll jump over it in the plane and I'm right there. We're on the same planet. And we need to expand our mind. Most of us, I'm saying in general, we get so caught up in the local politics, the local things. And yes, we need to be concerned with that. But like I said, be concerned on a world level because we are citizens of the planet. Yes, we know we're citizens of this country and this culture and upbringing, but we have to understand that we need to be concerned about the whole entire planet. We can go anywhere we want to go. And of course, there's restrictions in certain places because of political unrest. In certain places you don't want to go, right? There's certain places in Africa that they're not stable, certain countries. And they've been made that way, but you wouldn't want to go there because of what's going on as far as the uprising and the different things. But Ghana is one of the most friendliest places to come to, one of the most stable places to come to for anybody to come here in the whole continent of Africa. And many people don't know that Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent that has 54 different countries, 54 different governments, and ways of rule, which it shouldn't be that way. It should be one, and hopefully it will be that way. But it's a wonderful place when you know and you research. And the scenery and the country and the fresh air and fertile land that is so red and fertile, you know, I mean, it's so different. I have a joke. I said, listen, I was on the way up to another part of the country, far away, and I cleared my throat and, you know, kind of spit. And on the way back, when I came back, I looked at the same area. The land was so fertile that where I spit, there was a tree there that looked like me. Things grow here. The soil is so rich. And to get close to nature and get away from, and me of all people, I'm saying this, I have computers in front of me, electronics, but to be able to walk away from that and be in tune with nature and walk out barefoot and be in the sun, even if you're sweating like I am now, and eat good food and you feel the pull of nature to make you want to sleep when the sun goes down and you feel the urge to get up right before the sun comes up and you hear the hens and you hear the wildlife and the birds and breathe the air and you realize that, you know, we don't need all these pills and medicines and different things. We're around fresh food. You get around people who are vibrating on a certain level and you live life fully and it enhances your life. And that's what I hope for it to do, you know, and it's a beautiful thing because to be in America for 57 and a half years and come here, a different vibration where I don't have to feel like I have this tension on me, although in America, I was the master of dodging different stresses. I didn't get stressed like other people did, but I didn't want to have to deal with dodging stress. You know, I live way below my means. No matter what I was making, I always live way below. It doesn't take much for me. I utilize my time. I'm not ripping and running the streets or caught up in the so-called excitement. I did those things when I was very young. In New York City, I went everywhere and saw everything, but that afforded me the ability to tell stories that most people couldn't tell because, like I tell people, and I really mean this, that my eyes, my eyeballs have seen everything. In human nature, I haven't seen everything as far as every country, no, but between human beings and situations and things, that's pretty gritty. I've seen, you think it up, I've seen it. All stuff. So once you go and you drive your vehicle and it goes around the whole odometer again and you're still here, you don't have to go back to those things to see them. You already absorbed it. I've been blessed in my life to have parents that raised me right and told me a lot of things straight up. They didn't fancy it up. My father, being the man, he would take me around and show me things and explain exactly reality in New York City. Back then, it was one of the greatest places to learn. He didn't keep secrets from me. He told me, you do this, this is the consequences. And this is the reason why this woman is out here selling her body. And this, you don't want to, this guy's selling drugs over here. These guys are sticking up people over here. But he would take me to good people too. He had his own business and dealt with a lot of affluent people, millionaires, people who had restaurants and corporations and different things. And I had a chance to sit down and talk with them and get to know their kids. So I was made even before I hit double-digit ages of 10 years old. I was so exposed to so much that the city had to offer, because there is a lot to offer there. But we have a lot of children who they consider themselves inner city and they don't get exposed, but it's a thin barrier to being up in an office with somebody and them taking you under your wing and teaching you things. So I was taught a whole lot, and this is how I can talk the way I do and just be multidimensional and master so many things because there's no lack of confidence inside of me. I know that anything I put my mind to do, I can do. It's not cockiness. It's not being arrogant, but my father got me this way. You take a fighter like Mike Tyson, who he wasn't the tallest guy. Me and him are the same height, but he was beat in a boxing ring. He had a lot to learn about life because he wasn't responsible very young. And the reasons for that. But I'm just talking about as he was trained as a fighter to be the youngest champion ever in the heavyweight division and overcome obstacles. He was hypnotized. His trainer trained him day in and day out. You can win. You're going to destroy this guy. You're going to win. Don't be worried about having butterflies. We all do, but you have to conquer those things. I was exposed to a lot, and there were no mysteries for me in life. There's nothing that I had to try out. Like, oh, let me go try those drugs. Come on, try it. No, I knew better. My father taught me. So it kept me growing up a certain way where there are things around me and others who are falling for things that they shouldn't have fallen for, but they didn't have the upbringing that I did. So that gave me a head start, big time, and to not make the mistakes that others make. And so now with that kind of momentum, even though I'm 58 and some people say, man, you're old, trust me, the life force that I have inside of me, age doesn't matter. Yes, your body will go back to the earth, of course. But I think a lot of us give up too fast and believe what they hear that, oh, you're over 40, you got to slow down. Well, I'm soon over 60 and I'm going faster. I got a lot to do. And that in itself is what keeps you alive. Movement keeps you alive, having a goal and something to strive for. Because I know when I used to be into bodybuilding when I was a teenager and I won the nationals, the natural contest where they test for drugs, because I wasn't around, I didn't want to be around these guys who shoot the steroids and stuff. So I won that competition, right? And immediately after, 2 or 3 days after, I won it, got all the big trophies and stuff in the magazines. I'm not one to fall into a depression, but I felt down. And people are saying, man, you whipped everybody in the country. You should be happy. And when I realized what it was after a couple of days, and they asked me, they say, how do you feel? I said, I feel better now. They said, well, how do you feel better? What was bothering you? I said, what was bothering me is that I achieved something and didn't have the next goal ready. Because once you achieve something, it's done already. And that's the most vulnerable time in your life, when you achieve something, and if you don't have the next goal. Now, you have to have something over the horizon, but you can't take it too serious because you've got to focus on what's in front of you. But immediately, once you get that, I'm going to take a rest for a few days, but now I see what's next. You see? So I always keep something in front of me. I always keep multiple things in front of me, not where I have to do them all at one time. But like, okay, got a piece of paper here. Boom. And I have a few things written. I have 4 more things to do tonight. And over here in Accra, it's 7:54. And I got 4 more things to do. I'm going to do another 2 talk shows. And I know one of them is going to go for 3.5, 4 hours into the night. I'm going to be up all night because I planned that, right? And I'm going to interview somebody from the UK who's from Ghana. And after this, I'm going to take a little break, get something more to eat, and get right back on it again. Because now that's how I don't have time to be depressed. It's the movement that keeps you going. It's just like this. You're in a car and the AC is broken. You park the car and sit in the car for somebody else to come out. The AC is broken. You're drenched. But even with the AC not working, once you get on the highway, guess what? You feel that breeze and everything is okay. So it's movement. And if you can't move, have it in your mind and plan. Like I tell people, and we use money as an analogy. Oh, I don't have any money. I can't go shopping. I don't have any money. I won't have any money till next month. Don't let money stop you. You can window shop. You can go into the store and try on every outfit and use the time that you have to see what it is that you want and you don't want. And when you get your money in a month's time and you go shopping with your friend, you'll end up waiting outside because you went right inside to what you saw and what you know you're going to get, and you're ready to move on. You don't have to go now and try things on and, I don't know, choose between this one and that one. You did that already. So if you don't have money, you can still move closer to your goals. You can still plan. You can still ask somebody who's in the area of expertise. Knowledge is free. You can go to the library. You can go online. You can teach yourself anything online. And if you don't have an internet connection in a computer or a phone, you can go over to a friend's house. You can take your phone and get Wi-Fi outside the restaurant and still study. There's no excuse anymore. If I'm 58 years old, raised several children, right? Retired, and have this much enthusiasm for life, and if you're half my age, there's something wrong if you don't. Now, I know there are real issues out there. Sometimes there's emotional things, psychological things. I understand that. But I've had rough times in this life, but I never gave up. Sometimes it seemed like my goals were like way, way away. It's like, wow, I'm going to have to wait years before I can pursue this, but I'm going to learn about it. So when the time comes, right, I'll be ready. I'm ordering a digital drawing pad, and they're going to send the barrel out. My mother-in-law, my stepson, my wife's family, they're my family, but I'm just saying my in-laws, they're going to send it out, right? And I have a digital drawing pad there, and I have another piece of equipment that's going to help my streams and bring it up to a whole different level, more professional looking and everything. So it's going to take 4 weeks for it to get here. But guess what? Am I going to sit here like this, twiddling my thumbs for 4 weeks? No, I'm going to get on those websites, those tutorials, and learn everything about it so that when it comes here, I could master it immediately. You see, there's a lot of things like that. Wherever you are, you can get to the next place, but research and make sure that it's where you want to go. And it comes from the inside. Never live life for another person out there who's pulling you away from what you want to do. You know? I know I talk a lot.
No, it was interesting. So, Mr. LanceScurve, we are almost in of the show. Do you want to share anything to our audience?
Well, all I can say is be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. You could never go wrong in this life being true to yourself. No matter who you love or who's around you, even if you have a spouse, a husband, a wife, never lose yourself completely in anyone else's agenda. And agenda is not a bad word. We all have agendas, meaning we all have that bucket list of what we want to get accomplished, but always know yourself. Always be one of the best friends that you have for yourself. Always be centered. Never lose yourself. Never give up on yourself because someone else convinced you that you weren't good enough. So they use your energy for their purpose. Not that I'm saying marriage is like that. I'm just saying sometimes with spouses or friends or whatever, keep your energy where it benefits you. And when it benefits you, you're a better version of yourself. Therefore, you can benefit the world. You see? And I have so much to talk about that. We'll be all night. But if I had to say anything, that you can never go wrong when you love yourself. When you never go wrong if you take care of yourself. No matter what your situation is, you have to love yourself. You have to take care of yourself because you're the only person that's going to spend every second, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, and decade of your life with you. So you need to be your best friend. You need to have jokes that you laugh at. You need to pamper yourself. You need to go out on your own sometime and enjoy life and stay centered to yourself. It's not being selfish. It makes you a better person for your husband, for your wife, for your kids, because you didn't lose yourself. I'll shut up at that point.
Thank you very much being a part of Mahalaxmis Show. It was interesting conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beautiful thing. And I can't wait till we do the next one.
Yeah, so we'll do next time about veganism, about life, spirituality. We'll do different episode.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you very much watching the Mahalaxmis Show. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, try to do best. Stay healthy and happy. Namaste. Bye-bye.